In this video, you will learn exactly how to burn fat and keep your muscles in the process to look and feel fantastic, and do it in a healthy, effective and certain way using 5 principles based in science and long experience. We will also cover 2 biggest mistakes people usually do on their fat loss journey that you need to be avoiding, as well as we will give our best shot to create a weekly overview visually presenting to you exactly what you need to be doing step by step on everyday basis. My name is Matt and I'm a physio and manual therapist as well as personal trainer with 12 years of experience of working with customers one-on-one. And usually by the time of the year I get this question.
Hey man, how can I reduce my belly fat and look lean?
This video is for you who is looking to get rid of the belly fat as well as maintain your muscle mass during this process, preventing from losing it and becoming a miserable, deflated human being. In this video, you can expect that we are going to go in depth into 5 key elements you need to burn fat and keep your muscles step by step, as well as cover some misconceptions that might have slipped under your radar, even if you've been training for a while. By the end of the video, I will share also with you something very useful that you will be able to download and make your nutrition much simpler and easier. We're gonna start obviously with the proper calorie deficit, meaning not too much, not too little, and how to calculate it, how to achieve that deficit, and there are 3 different ways you can do that. We're gonna cover the resistance training, so what to train exactly to keep you in nicely shaped form. We're going to cover the quality and type of that resistance training, so how to train exactly, and very important training principles. As well, we will discuss how to stay consistent with your new weekly system so you don't flake out after 3 weeks when motivation fades away, and how long it will take to see the results. Welcome to the Whiteboard Sessions. Today's topic is how to get rid of fat but keep your muscles. And we're going to start with a very important fact that a lot of people forget while trying to lose some fat, and that is the simple fact that if you are, for example, this skinny dude over here with a little chubby belly that doesn't necessarily have a lot of muscles, your calorie allowance, your maintenance level will be, for example, 1900 calories. But if you would be a bit more muscular version of yourself, and over here every 1 kilogram of muscle counts, then your calorie allowance would be much higher, meaning you can eat much more food and stay lean. And a lot of people forget that basically having more muscles on top of your body helps you to stay lean. If you're a skinny person, it is more difficult for you to lose the last bits of fat if you don't have much muscle, and if you have way much more muscle, it is simply easier for you to get rid of the last belly fat. So keep that in mind. Now, what do I mean by maintenance calories? Obviously, it's a balance between the calories you have been eating and the calories you have been burning. If it's more or less the same amounts, then basically you will not gain weight, you will not lose weight. But let's discuss a little bit what does body do with your calories first and foremost, as it is important. Your body burns calories in various different ways, and we over here point out the 4 elements to what body uses your calories for. So let's start with basal metabolic rate, meaning your body basically uses calorie to just keep you alive. You may be laying in your bed, not moving at all, but it still costs body some energy. Next one is thermic effect of food. So basically your body using energy, calories to burn the food that you put into your body. On top of that, we have exercise activity thermogenesis. That's basically you exercising, sweating, doing some cardio, doing some weightlifting and so forth. You get the memo. Another one is NEAT, which stands for non-exercise activity thermogenesis, and that is all other activity that you might be doing throughout the day, cleaning your house, walking your dog, going for a little hike and so forth. It might be swimming, it might be cycling, but everything at a low intensity, low impact on your body. You're just being active, not necessarily just sitting there and not moving. It's you just doing stuff throughout the day. Actually, this one is very important. Now, let's uncover the next part on this whiteboard, and that is the typical way most people approach the fat loss. And that is, people generally think that they need to be doing more intensive cardio, so they'll start to run. Maybe they'll do way much more cardio at the gym. Maybe they'll join some kind of HIIT intensive workout classes at the local fitness club and so forth. And on top of that, they will try to reduce as much calories as possible from their diet. And oftentimes these people are focused on the weight itself. So they hop on a scale, they see a number and they want that number to be decreased, right? They think I need to go down 5 kilos on my weight. Now that kind of mindset is not necessarily the most optimal, because you don't actually want to go down on weight. You want to reduce fat from your body, and that is not the same subject. And that kind of approach over here leads oftentimes to losing muscles. It is not sustainable because you will be using a lot of mental effort and discipline to go through that. And at some point you will just simply crash, meaning maybe by the end of the week after you've been, dieting hard and doing tons of cardio, you'll just break and you will start eating excessively. And that is nothing you can do about it. It's just automatic system. Your body switches to a panic mode Another thing that you might develop a little yo-yo effect, meaning that you will remove your body fat. Yes, you will remove some of the kilograms or pounds from your body, but a couple of months later you will regain them because you're just not able to sustain that kind of low calorie intake. And your body also adapts, so it slows down its metabolism, meaning the tempo at what it burns the calories. Now, your metabolism slows down anyways if you're in deficit, but if you're in a big deficit, then basically you're putting your body in a shock, and the processes that follows are not pretty. To summarize, this is the beautiful way to basically remove some of the muscles that you have, remove a lot of water and glycogen from your body, get frustrated, maybe possibly develop some kind of unhealthy obsessions, and also not really get rid of the last bits of belly fat. And a lot of people just basically use this method to remove their body fat, but it is not the most optimal way. So let's jump into the right way to do it. So the steady fat loss. Yes, you will still have to be in a slight deficit with your food, so you'll have to eat a bit less than what you burn, obviously, but you will focus more on the need, so the non-exercise activity. You will not have to do a lot of cardio intensive stuff. You will just move more. You will go for longer walks, you will swim more, you will cycle more, maybe you'll do one of the sports that you really like, maybe you'll go, I don't know, freaking bowling. I like to go for nice walks. I live in a beautiful neighborhood with beautiful views over the sea, but not everybody likes to just walk more. You can find your own thing, your activity, and you use that to burn that extra energy. And forget about intensive cardio as a tool to remove fat from your body. Cool, we're also gonna add over here weightlifting, but more about that later during the presentation. Using this method will keep you more muscle, which is good. You will still lose the fat, which is awesome. It is much more sustainable. Your focus will remain on burning more fat rather than obsessing about your body weight. So this is the general picture on how to approach this whole subject of removing fat but keeping your muscles. You will be avoiding that kind of mindset over here. On the other hand, you will be using exactly this method over here. So slight deficit, more non-exercise activity, and much smarter and healthier approach to the whole subject. So one of the first things we will discuss is the deficit. So how fast you should be reducing your body fat, at what rate to keep the muscles, and what is the optimal slope down to reduce the body fat. All right, new slide on the whiteboard, new haircut on top of my head. Let's dive in. So the optimal good fat loss rate you should be looking at is anywhere between 0.5% of your body weight per week toward 1% of body weight per week, depending on who you are. If you're somebody who has a little bit extra fat to go, you need to cut quite a bit of fat, then you want to go around 1% of body weight loss per week. And if you're somebody who wants to remove just the last layers of fat from your body, then you're going to go at around the rate of 0.5% of body weight down per week, which means that between Monday to Monday, you should see that trend of either 0.5% or 1% if you have more to go of your weight going down. Now, we are not focusing on the weight itself as the goal. We're just using it as a measurement to see how fast you're losing your fat. So as an example, if you're a man of around 20 or more % of body fat, let's say that you're 95 kilograms, so you have quite a bit to go in terms of your body fat, then you want to see the trend of -1% of body weight per week. If you're somebody who is a little bit leaner, maybe you're a man of around 15% of body fat, you're going to go closer to 0.5% of body weight loss per week. So let's say that you are 86 kilograms with 50% body fat, then you want to go on a bit leaner cut, 0.5%, so about 85.6, 85.5, roughly speaking. Guys, we look great at 10 to 12%. Anywhere below that is considered to be a little bit extreme. And if you would maintain that, if you would go below 10% and maintain that over a long period of time, you are risking to decrease your testosterone levels, your sex drive. There are some exceptions among us that has better genetics, that tolerate better, leaner kind of physique. But roughly speaking, around 10%, you already look great. Anywhere below that should be considered extreme and long-term not healthy.
Okay, so up next we will calculate exactly what you should be eating, what and how much of it, and I'm going to give you a quick sneak peek on exactly what you can eat throughout the day with example of the dishes. Then we will summarize all the information about the nutrition before proceeding to training and organizing your week part. But first, I need to be real with you and let me ask you something. Would you like a close to 100% guarantee that you will shed fat from your body, keep your muscles and feel great about it in just a matter of some weeks or months from now? I'm guessing yes, but you see, in my long experience working with clients, I know that most people have a quite averse approach to counting and measuring things. It's a big effort, and you know what I'm talking about. Calculating your calories, weighing yourself regularly,
following a good weightlifting program and tracking your lifts to be able to apply progression, tracking your daily step count or other form of movement, or even track your sleep quality with sports wristband to measure your recovery.
Let's face it, it's a pain in the ass. But what if I tell you that virtually any other method or approach pales in comparison when you compare the effectiveness for most people? And that the biggest hurdle of starting to measure more data about your body and its performance is just in the first few weeks. Then it gets easier, and for the rest of your life it becomes much easier to understand what is happening with your body, and you can adjust much more easily on the fly as you gain experience. Listen, I'm not asking you to count forever, but you need to be educated on what you eat and how your body actually performs. See, the more data we collect, the better understanding of your body, and it's easier to adjust certain things to basically get much better overall result, as well as guarantee your certain progress. On the other hand, if you have little measurable data, that means that you have to eyeball everything, and it's going to be difficult to adjust your approach, which means you may have random results coming out and no or slow progress. So if there's only one thing you can take away from this video, is this: people who track their data are significantly more successful at transforming their body, period. It's not sexy, but it works. Naturally, you can also disregard what I'm saying, but don't come back to me crying that this shit doesn't work.
Okay, great. Now let's calculate your calories and your macros. Now, if you have never been tracking before or you have no idea what is your maintenance calories, this over here should serve you as an estimate of what that might be. Now, if you're about 90 kilograms, you are probably at around 2,500 calories of your maintenance level every day. If that's 80 kilograms, that will be 2,400 calories, roughly speaking. Naturally, this is just an estimate. And from that, we're gonna subtract a little bit of calories every day to make sure that you're in a calorie deficit. And then you're gonna adjust it, observing how your body reacts to it on a week-to-week basis. And you're gonna make sure that you're around 0.5 to 1% of body weight loss per week. So for example, if you are, let's say your maintenance is 2,500 calories, we're gonna subtract some of those calories away. Let's say that we're gonna start with 2,400 calories, and each week we're gonna decrease those a little bit extra. Now, we don't really want you to go below 2,000 calories because that may affect your performance at the gym, your mood, your sleep. As well, it might be actually a bit more difficult to hold onto the muscles if you go below that. But what you can do instead is you can increase the low intensity activity even further. Although already you have been doing that over here, but over here even further, you can add 2,000 steps, 4,000 steps, 6,000 steps, and so forth. Now, it doesn't have to be steps, it can be some kind of other activity, but basically something that you can measure, and you increase that deficit even further, so you maintain the same kind of tempo of fat loss. Now, when it comes to macros, in terms of proteins, you're going to be following 1.8 to 2.2 times body weight in kilograms. Now, do you actually have to eat that amount of proteins every single day? Not necessarily. There has been some new research that shows that you don't need that amount of proteins every single day to keep your muscles, but I will still advise you to do so, and there are a couple of reasons for that. First of all, proteins is the safest kind of macro of them all. And what I mean by that is that, for example, it is very easy to overeat fats because they're tasty, they're calorie dense, they take a little space in your belly. So it's super easy to overeat them. And as well, your body has this capacity to turn that into fat very quickly because, well, it is fat already. Kind of similar thing happens with carbs. They are easy to eat, easy to overeat, they are tasty, and your body has no problems with converting that into a fat on top of your body if you eat too much. Now, with proteins, it's a little bit different story. Your body struggles a little bit extra to convert those into fat on top of your body. And proteins are basically amino acids, so the building bricks of what you're built of in terms of your ligaments, your tendons, your muscles, your bones, and so forth. And especially when we are in the calorie deficit, we want to make sure that your body have enough of that to keep your muscles and keep your gains and just remove the fat. So for that reason, we're going to stick to that number. Now, when it comes to fats, you're not going to go below 60 grams per day, no matter who you are. And the reason for that is that your body uses that fat that you eat to manufacture new hormones in your body. So it's super crucial for your hormonal system that you have enough of those. So do not go below 60 grams of fats every day. When it comes to carbs, we're gonna go basically and calculate how many calories we have left to use, and we're gonna fill those with carbs. Simple. And in a second, I will show you a practical examples of that, so just to drive this point home and make it even more clear. And as a general rule, you wanna remove your calories basically in a nice steady pace. You wanna be in that deficit that goes smoothly down, rather than shocking your body with rapidly removing tons of calories from your diet. Your body does not know that there's a fridge close by full of food. Your body thinks that you're literally dying, you're starving. So you don't necessarily want to shock your body like that. Slow and steady wins the race is the rule. Every week you're gonna shed just a little bit of layer of the fat and be patient. You will reach your dream physique, you just have to trust the process. And you will avoid this thinking that you have to be rapidly removing your weight and shocking your body, because long term simply just doesn't work. All right, so let's go through a couple examples. Let's say that you are 90 kilograms and that you have been shredding already 2-3 weeks, and that your daily intake right now is around 2,200 calories. Let's calculate your macros. So we're gonna take your weight times 2.2, and we're gonna get your proteins, so 198 grams. And in each gram of protein, there is about 4 calories. So we're gonna calculate that times 4 to get the amount of calories that you are eating from those proteins. Then we're gonna do the same with the fats, although over here, we're gonna calculate basically your body weight times 1. That's your fats for now. Now, it doesn't have to be exactly times 1, but I generally speaking like to calculate like that. Later on, we can adjust it a little bit more, but you will not go wrong if you're gonna calculate it the same way. And we're gonna multiply that by 9, since 1 gram of fat roughly contains around 9 calories. So 90 times 9, that's 890. And to get your carbs, we basically need to use the rest of the calories to fill that gap over here. So what we're gonna do is you're gonna take that number, subtract those two, and you're gonna arrive at 598 calories. And that divided by 4 will give us 149 grams of carbs. Now, we don't necessarily have to stick to those two numbers strictly. You could be eating more fats or less fats, and then accordingly more carbs or less carbs, depending on what is your personal preference. And that for an average person should totally work fine. So let's go to another example. Let's say that you are 80 kilograms, but you don't want to go less than 2,200 calories a day because you simply feel like your performance is decreasing, you're maybe too hungry and so forth. No problem. What we're gonna do then is just add a little bit extra of the need of walking, half an hour, maybe 45 minutes of walking instead of cutting further on the calories. So you'll be still consuming 2,200 calories, but you will be burning roughly, let's say 200 calories maybe by just walking for half an hour to 45 minutes. So for this guy over here, let's calculate the macros. So the proteins, again, 80 times 2.2 is 176 grams. Fats, for this example, like I said, times 1, it's going to be 80 grams, roughly speaking. We're going to calculate calories coming from the proteins. So we're going to multiply 176 times 4, that's 704. Similarly, just using 9 to get 720 calories over here. And to calculate the rest of the carbs, again, we're going to subtract those two numbers from the main number over here, which is going to give us a number of 776 divided by 4, gives us a number of roughly 194 grams of carbs. And this is how you calculate your macros. Now, that is not to say that you have to follow, especially those two, super strict, like I mentioned. Your fats can be higher, can be lower, and then accordingly, carbs can be higher, can be lower, depending on your personal preference. The most important numbers are the amount of calories you eat versus how much you burn, obviously, and also the amount of proteins. That is the most important, as well as that you don't go below 60 grams when it comes to fat. Then you will adjust weekly based on basically how you feel, how you prefer, both physically but also mentally, how you will observe how your body changes in the mirror. And obviously we're going to use your body weight as a guidance. So again, 0.5 to 1% of body weight loss per week, that's the goal. All right, finally, let's take a look at day of eating. So for breakfast, I usually eat 4 eggs with some cheeky toast on the side, little tomatoes, and a little bit of mushrooms. You don't have to be afraid of the bread as long as it is high quality, and I also simply just enjoy it. For meal 1, we have 440 calories more or less, 29 proteins, 22 fats, 31 carbs. Then personally, I like to have a little snack before my workout. Over here we have cottage cheese with some berries as well as strawberries and a drizzle of honey. This snack is super tasty and very rich in proteins. This is about 350 grams of cottage cheese, and total this meal is about 540 calories, 46 proteins, 17 fats and 52 carbs. After a workout, a little bit of chicken and rice, classic one, with a little bit of asparagus and red beets on the side. Over here we have about 100 grams of rice as well as 300 grams of chicken. That totals to 700 calories, 70 proteins, 8 fats and 94 carbs. And on the last meal of the day, I will go for a little white fish cod with some veggies on the side as asparagus and red beets again.
This is about 250 grams of whitefish. Maybe not the most exciting, but I actually like it. That meal will again give us a good source of proteins, which is super important as we are cutting down. I will top it off with a little bit of fruits or nuts. In this case, this day I ate 1 kiwi and 1 apple extra. And that gives us the total sum: 2,100 calories, 191 grams of protein, 68 grams of fats, and about 190 grams of carbs. And that is to give you a certain idea of how a day of eating could look like when you're cutting. Alright, let's summarize what you have learned so far in this video. Let's start with the calorie deficit. Obviously, you need to eat less than you burn to lose fat. There's no way around it. To be in the calorie deficit, you can choose to eat much more or less, which can be a little bit too restricting. You can train much more, but that on the other hand can be a little bit too taxing on your body for it to recover between the weightlifting sessions, as well as too time consuming. Or you can do both, which is the best solution. So you eat fewer calories as well as you do more a low intensity activity. You'll be tracking your progress, weighing your food, calculating calories, tracking lifts, and weighing yourself. This is the best method and it is the most certain and reliable. It will require some effort in the beginning, but you will get used to it pretty soon. You will focus mainly on counting your calories and proteins. All other stuff like fats, carbs, or type of diet that you're on is just personal preference. There's no need for low carb or keto diets. They don't work for everyone, and there's this trend going on right now. Carbs are a great source of energy, and if you want to make sure that your life is miserable, go and follow a low-carb diet. Weigh yourself daily for accountability, but remember that body weight fluctuates up to even 1.5 kilograms daily, and the body weight isn't the goal, the fat loss is. We are just using body weight just to measure your progression with the fat loss. Aim to lose about 0.5% to 1% of your body weight per week and take photos. Proper resistance training is absolutely necessary to maintain your muscles as you cut. More on this very soon. Alright, great, let's cover the resistance training. I hope it goes without saying that you need a good resistance training routine in your week if you want to keep your muscles as you cut down. And if you're wondering if you can train at home or if you can train some kind of form of body weight, so let's say calisthenics, instead of going to the gym, the answer is that if you want to follow some of those points that we're going to cover right now, it is not possible to do it at home. You will actually have to get yourself to the gym and perform exercises with proper weights. And with that, let's dive into the principles over here that I wrote down for you. Number 1 is structure or a training program. I see far too many people going to the gym with no idea what they're doing, basically winging on the fly the type of exercises that they're gonna perform. There's no consistency in terms of keeping the same exercises week to week, and there's no buildup, there's no increasing of the resistance, and it is super important if you want to see your muscle growing. So number 1 thing you need to fix, if you haven't already, you need to have a structured, specific training program that you will be following in the upcoming weeks. Otherwise, you will not be able to utilize some of the other principles that we're going to cover here to max out your muscle growth as you're cutting. Now, if you're wondering if you can skip again the resistance training and still get some great results in terms of like your aesthetics, no, it's not possible. If you're cutting, if you are on a calorie deficit, you need to give a reason for the body to keep your muscles around. Otherwise, they'll be gone and you'll be just a smaller, more flatter version of yourself as you cut down on fat. And I'm guessing that's not the thing you want. Okay, let's jump to the point number 2, and that is proper form. Form more important than the weight. I see far too many people lifting a little bit too much weight compared to what they're able to actually do with their bodies. You need to be performing the exercises correctly with the right technique. Figure out how to do that. Follow a YouTube channel that teaches you about correct form. Record yourself at the gym, then compare those two. Maybe hire a coach if you're able to do it. Make sure that your form is on point. And point number 3 is progressive overload, meaning more resistance every single week. You are increasing a little bit of weight, you are increasing the repetitions that you are doing with that weight, or you're adding one more set. And you need to write that down, you need to follow, you need to have some kind of documentation, either in a notebook or on an application or in your notepad. You need to write down what are you doing with your body and slightly trying to increase and push the boundary every single week. Point number 4 is also very important. Again, I see far too many people not really focusing on the mind-muscle connection. So you would see people coming to the gym and they observe some kind of movement, let's say squat or deadlift, and they try to mimic the movement without realizing which body part actually works, which muscle groups are engaged. And that leads to oftentimes performing the exercise not entirely correct and engaging
all various types of different muscles, but not the ones that they actually want to develop. So if you're looking to waste your time at the gym, so going to the gym and not achieving great results, make sure that you ignore point number 4 as well. Number 5, which is full range of motion. Super important rule. If you are looking to be healthy, functional, and strong, as well as well built, you need to be doing your exercises in the full range of motion. Not many people realize that the most potent, the most important stimuli for muscle to grow is at the end of your full range of motion. So meaning when the muscle is the most stretched and you apply resistance to it, this is the best way for the muscle to grow. So make sure that you're training in the full range of motion, focusing on the last stretched as the most important one. And on top of that, you need to make sure that the eccentric phase of the movement, this movement needs to be slightly slower than the concentric. Research shows that it is the most potent, the most efficient way. So do not skip, do not let the weight just drop down quickly. This is actually the best part of the exercise, as well as the biggest stretch. You can even hold for 1-2 seconds at the bottom when the muscle is most stretched before contracting again. Super important if you want to max out the results at the gym. Point number 6, proper warm-up. I see a lot of people doing cardio. I see a lot of people doing some kind of weird small movements with little weights, rotations. For example, especially this one that does not make sense whatsoever. There's no resistance really over here for the rotator cuff, but basically people warming up with cardio, warming up with dynamic stretches. Now, unless you are injured, unless there's something wrong with your body, then the best warm-up you can do is straight go to the exercise you're gonna be doing from your training program and just begin with 2 or 3 warm-up sets that you don't really count, that you don't really write down. But those are the 2-3 warm-up sets with light weight, allowing your body to adapt itself, to stretch a little bit of the joints, warm up the muscles, and also stimulate a little bit of your nervous system, connect with your body. And then you're gonna proceed after the 2-3 warm-up sets with a heavy working set. Point number 7, how many sets, how many reps, how heavy you should go, and so forth. A lot of people seem to be confused by that, and rightfully so. There's so much information on how you should train, but let's stick to what actually works according to science. Maximum stimulus you can give to your body that seems to have the biggest return on your efforts is 10 sets per muscle group twice a week. So 10 sets per specific muscle group, let's say chest, 10 sets over here, twice a week. That's the maximum stimuli you can give to your body and see the biggest result. Now, that's not to say that you have to do it to see some gains. This is, we are talking the maximum bodybuilding program we would put you on. That would be probably 5 times a week, where we do actually 10 sets for every single muscle group in your body twice a week. So 20 sets in total. That would be the absolute maximum. But it's not to be said that you have to be doing that. If you would be doing 10, for example, sets per muscle group per week, so half of that, especially if you're a beginner, that is already giving you a certain amount of gains. As long as you follow the previous principles, it is already fantastic. What it means is that you don't necessarily have to go to 20 sets per muscle group per week. No, that's the optimal, that's the best muscle growth. But anywhere above 10 sets would also do the work. In terms of reps, should you be doing few reps but a lot of weight? Should you be doing multiple reps but less weight? Well, it kind of depends. If we're talking about muscle growth, like purely just hypertrophy, building your muscle, building your physique, looking great on the beach, then anywhere between 5 to 15 reps will actually work. But I have a couple of practical tips for you on how to go about it. So imagine that you are going through a workout where every single set is 5-6 repetitions with a lot of weight, which means that you will have to have a little bit longer breaks in between sets to recover and to max out the next set. It will take you forever to go through a workout like that, even 2 hours maybe. On the other hand, you would develop quite a bit of strength. But right now in this presentation, we're talking about hypertrophy, so growing your muscle, not just focusing on the strength itself. On the other hand, if you would have 15 repetitions in every single set and exercise, as well, it will take you forever to go through that workout. If you have nothing else to do in life, then maybe it's all right. Your muscle will grow either way, but recommendation probably is somewhere around 8 to 12 reps, realistically speaking. So I hope that kind of clarifies the part where we talk about sets and reps. And number 8, proper intensity. So over here, I see far too many people not really pushing themselves at the gym. A lot of people go to the gym and they skip the last 2, 3, maybe even 4 repetitions on each set, thinking that they are actually training heavy. But the reality is that they still have in the tank 2, 3, 4 reps And those 2, 3, 4 reps in the end, those are the most important for your body in terms of the stimuli for your muscle to grow. That's one of the reasons why working with somebody like a coach next to you or a gym buddy, or have somebody basically push you on the side, works so well. So make sure that you push yourself every workout, every single set, you are giving your best. And with the point number 9, we're gonna go to the rest and sleep. You need to be resting, you need to be recovering from all this hard work that you have been doing. And you need to allow your body to adapt, build the muscle, burn the fat from your body. Neglecting that is actually a big mistake. You're making sure to have enough of the nutrition. Obviously, you make sure to have enough of the stimuli for the muscle to grow. And then you need to make sure that you are resting enough so your body can rebuild itself and give you the dream physique that you want. So with that, we have been through the 9 points. Maybe there's more. I thought that those 9 are actually super important. If you're looking to shred fat and keep your muscles intact, you need to be considering those principles over here. And it doesn't really matter if you're bulking or cutting or whatever you're doing. Those rules still apply to training. The weightlifting training does not change. Again, if you don't want to lose your muscle and become just a smaller, flatter version of yourself, make sure to train at least the largest muscle groups: legs, back, chest, and shoulders. Then, depending on your level, pick a program that suits you. If you're a beginner, a total body workout 3 to 4 times a week is a good idea. If you're intermediate, workouts of 3 to 5 times a week with more nuanced, dedicated days, sets, and intensity will be the path. Remember, the key to success with weight training focus on muscle growth is to slow down on the eccentric movement and consciously move the weights, focusing your mind on stimulating the trained muscle close to failure on the most sets and sometimes to full failure. Instead, many focus on lifting as heavy as possible, sacrificing technique, range of motion, and therefore potential gains. Each week, try to beat your previous workouts in terms of the total lifted weight or intensity. Take a look at a few of my favorite personal exercises in my training and probably some of the best in terms of muscle stimulation to the risk of injury and total body fatigue ratio. These exercises offer a pretty damn good ROI on my time and just feel right. You can pause the video to check them out. And let's take a look at the short visual presentation of how your week could potentially look like when you are cutting. For example, on Saturday you could do your weekly shopping to buy most if not all of your groceries for the week. This is helpful if you are short on time and can't prepare meals every day. It helps prevent ordering unhealthy takeaway, going around hungry, or buying quick snacks that are hard to track. During the same weekend you can prepare your food for at least few days or even the entire week straight away, at least the main meals. In the link in the description you will find a full system on nutrition detailing on how to eat day by day. You can book training sessions on Monday, Wednesday and Friday if you are training 3 times a week, for example, or you can add 1 or 2 more days if you go for 4 to 5 workouts. Keep these days in your calendar to maintain the same schedule and stay consistent. Naturally, these days are just examples, so choose your own. In the meantime, try to increase your daily step count. For example, if you currently do 4,000 steps a day, try to increase to 8,000 steps or even more. When on a final cut, it really helps to walk much more, up even to 15,000 steps a day. Naturally, you can switch to other low intensity activities, but walking is super easy to measure and your phone probably counts that for you already. Daily, try to match your calories and macro goals. You can also measure your weight first thing in the morning every day and note it down to monitor your progress. You don't need a more complicated system than what you see here to succeed. This is my exact system for going down to 7% body fat through the summer, and it's the same system I use with my one-on-one clients. It's simple and it works.
Alright, let's finish it up with 2 things. First of all, to stay consistent with your fat loss, it really helps when you track your foods, lifts and weight. It makes you more accountable and allows you to see the progress much quicker, which is motivating. People who don't follow any structure have little or no idea of what is exactly happening with their bodies and often can't stay consistent because there's no much structure to stay consistent with. Make sure you have food prepared throughout your busy day or even the whole week. This prevents hunger and low energy, which often leads to snacking and skipping gym sessions because of bad mood or low energy. That's why under this video you will find a link to a file that includes a shopping list, 2 meal plans for the week, how to cook those meals, when to shop, when to cook, and a list of supplements to buy. It's a no-brainer solution for someone who doesn't want to be bothered with thinking what to eat and match your calories and macros. The plan in the link is a blueprint to be used so that in the future you can switch some of the dishes, but the structure and portions stay the same. It's a big help for anybody looking to get some results, so make sure to check it out. Another point is try not to binge eat large cheat meals or drink lots of alcohol during the weekends. One evening may ruin the whole week of good work, causing you to plateau and lose motivation, as well as affecting you negatively mentally mentally like low energy. As long as you track calories, you can enjoy some of your favorite foods and snacks, even if it's not the most healthiest options. So follow the rule 80-20, where at least most of your calories are super healthy and good for your body. Make sure to count all of your calories and match the daily goal. It might be helpful to schedule your workouts beforehand in your calendar a week ahead and then fit your work life around it. That also helps with being consistent, especially if you're a busy person. I noticed that this helps a lot for many people. Also keep in mind that time passes regardless, and it takes a lot of it to build a great physique. 1 year from now arrives in 1 year, and you might as well be in a great shape. Focus on long-term systems rather than short sprints. That being said, 1 to 2 months of good cutting can bring you amazing results. Sometimes your fat loss journey plateaus, and that's normal. The first thing to check again if you are tracking your calories correctly. 9 out of 10 times you are not tracking your calories correctly. That's the reason. Think about building a system around your fitness so it becomes a part of your life rather than a significant mental effort. You need a clear goal in your mind, a workout plan, and a system for food. Either batch cooking like I suggest in the file attached below, cooking daily, or ordering healthy food catering if you can afford it. Once you build a sustainable system to follow and understand the principles, it becomes significantly easier to both bulk and cut in a smooth, controlled manner.
And this is it. Let's wrap it up. Thank you so much for watching. I hope the video wasn't too long or too filled with too many numbers. It is my first YouTube video. I hope you found it useful. Let me know in the comments. Like the video if you did like it. If you didn't like it, don't like it. Make sure to check out the link below if you're interested in a weekly food system like mentioned before. And I hope I see you on the next one. Whoa.
Oh, we're the brand. That's it. That's it. Yes. Oh, a way to give me energy when I go to work.